Good evening. Welcome to the meeting of the Plymouth Community School Board of Trustees for February 2nd, 2016. Happy Groundhog Day. If you'll join us in the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming this evening. Our first item is the setting of the agenda. Do you have any additions or corrections?
No, we do not.
With that, I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 1.3, audience participation. Are there members of the audience that would like to address any agenda items this evening? Yes, ma'am.
It may depend on what's being said, but item 2.22, amended administrative salary schedule. Item 3.6, calendar.
I'm sorry, I couldn't find my pen. 2.22, what was the other?
Item 3.6, calendar.
Uh-huh.
And item 3.11 of new and revised policies and guidelines.
Anyone else? Okay, next item is to consider our consent agenda this evening. Are there any items within the consent agenda that a board member would like to have separated out? Would this be considered separate? With bad English. Well, if not, I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. Have motion and second. And you have questions on 2.22?
Yeah, just would like to know the details of what it is. We have no details on what's being considered.
I'm sorry? Yeah.
That is, when Sandy left, she was a classified administrator, and when we hired someone new to take the place, Wendy became that classified administrator instead of the replacement.
Okay,
So
so
that's all that is.
just a change in who holds those positions, no change in compensation or benefits?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Did you want to make some introduction?
Yes, I would like to introduce Amy Goodall. She's right over here. She will be in the position that Sandy held. Amy is very used to board meetings. She's the board president in Triton. And so she's not allowed to tape the meeting, take them back. But we welcome her. We had about 18 people that applied, and we interviewed 8, and she was right at the top of the pack when it was all over. So we welcome her here. She subbed today at Webster, and she'll be in this office tomorrow, and she's here tonight, so it's a long day.
Welcome aboard. Any other comments on the consent agenda or questions? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to section 3, our business transactions. 3.1, focus on learning this evening with Riverside.
Yes, Mrs. Hershey, would you like to introduce your focus on learning?
Yes, I will introduce our awesome art teacher, Elise Shadinsky, and she's going to showcase our focus on art and tell you what this class is. It's actually Soar with Art.
Welcome. You dropped something out of your pocket.
Oops. All right, again, my name is Elise Shadinsky, and I'm the art teacher at Riverside. And at Riverside, 6th graders can elect to take an extra art class during our SOAR time, and I call it SOAR with Art. So this class, which is in its 3rd year, is designed mostly for those students who don't get regular art class because of interventions, but then also for those students who are seeking extra art enrichment. They discover new artists, discuss contemporary art, and develop their own independent projects. It's completely student-led. So each student starts by finding an artist to study, and while choosing mostly contemporary artists, other students have researched some of art history's favorites, like Frida Kahlo, Jackson Pollock, and the first artists of all time, the cavemen and women of Lascaux. After completing their research, students look to these artists for inspiration. They create a sketch of a project they'd like to complete, and then they make a list of materials needed, and we somehow find them. By the end of the 9 weeks, students typically have at least 2 projects for our show, and it occurs in the entrance of Riverside at the end of every 9 weeks. The subject and materials are left completely up to the student, along with most of the problem solving. The students here today excelled at creating a diverse body of work, ranging from henna on a rabbit hide to a weaving on a branch. So I'm going to let them talk a little bit about what they've made. We have Reagan.
I was in Soar with Art last quarter and 2 days each week of this quarter. I studied a total of 3 artists last quarter and did a total of 3 projects last quarter, two of which Ms. Shedinsky brought today. One of them is henna on a rabbit hat, the other being a photo collage. My favorite of the 2 projects I did is my henna on the rabbit hat. The artist I studied for my henna project was Kane Chef. She inspired me because I loved how she viewed her own business as something that she did simply on her free time with her friends. I made my project by taking the rabbit hide that I had and mixing some paint. I took brown and red paint and mixed it until I got my desired color. Then I just went for it. I used my sketch as a guide, but mostly went off of what I simply wanted to do. Then I took wire to attach it to a stick. From this stick, I tied a string so I'd be able to hang it up in my new room. It was a lot of fun to make. Aside from the projects that I did, I had an awesome time in Soar with Art. Not only because I love it, it's probably my favorite profession. I love getting to hang out with my friends and do something.
We have McKenna.
My name is McKenna Mannering. The artist I studied for my project is Camille Meeker. What I did was build a cat out of clay. My favorite part about Soar with Art is looking for artists and researching and learning more about them and doing my projects.
And we have Omri.
Hi, my name is Omri, and this is my second quarter with Mrs. Shedinsky. I have 2 artworks that I'm going to tell you about. My first one is an Australian flag embroidered with flowers around it. And we did that in our tour class, and I painted the flag onto it, and then I embroidered the flowers. And my second project is the Grease comedian faces, and I made those with clay, and they were originally supposed to be made for my ancient Greece project, and I made those in Soar with Art.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? These are very nice. Very nice.
How many kids participate? I'm sorry, but
It's usually 10 to 20 every 9 weeks, and we have some repeaters and some new ones every time.
great. Nice job.
That's very nice. I don't know what to do with these. Are you going to take them?
Yeah, I'm going to continue.
Don't break them. Who did this one?
She's not here.
That's Aya, yeah, she did this weaving too.
Very cool. Those are all really neat.
Do these get displayed in the school as well?
Yep, yeah, they're usually up for a week or 2 in front of the school.
I didn't see your signature up here. That makes it really valuable to sign on.
Which one is it? Which one is it?
The Baldwin, is that what you're going to say? Thank you all very much. You're certainly welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, or you're welcome to go enjoy the rest of your evening and get your homework done. Thank you. Okay. On to, maybe this is also a bit of art, the corporation analysis of high step scores. Is this
Absolutely, it
science or
is.
art?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
we can say right now that we're gonna have to put this off for another 2 weeks. The DOE is done for months.
It's a very good one. So tonight, I will be presenting to you the ISTEP results from the 2014-2015 school year. This will be from a district perspective. Principals will be at the March and April school board meetings to present their individual schools' data. In 14-15, Indiana transitioned to new Indiana College and Career Ready standards. Because it was a new test over new standards, what you're going to see here tonight is a comparison of our district average next to the Indiana's average. In English Language Arts, we were above the state average. In math, we were slightly below the state average. In students passing both English Language Arts and math, we were right at the state average. Next, you will see some of our disaggregation data. And what that means is it is focused in on particular subgroups. And this is
I'm sorry, I should have asked this before you started. You probably said it and I missed it. What is our group of students here?
This is 3rd through 8th grade. So our special education population is above the state average. Our English language learners was below the state average. And our free and reduced lunch population was also above the state average. To further address the needs that we have seen in our district, we have hired additional Title I teachers, one at each elementary and one at Riverside. Also, knowing how important it is to build a child's foundation early, we added 2 additional preschool programs at Jefferson. The additional Title I teachers and the preschool programs were funded through federal grants. One was a Title III grant and the other one was a Title I grant. Sure.
Sorry. Was that a reflection of things, additional areas we needed to focus on, or we were understaffed?
A combination of both, I would say. When those needs arise, we added more staffing. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Teachers have worked really hard to create a new curriculum that aligns to the expectations that are in the new standards. That work primarily focused around taking kids from that foundational level of understanding to the ability of applying their understanding at higher levels. Currently, principals are working with their leadership teams at their schools to create school improvement plans. In this process, they analyze multiple pieces of data and align goals and action steps to that data. These plans will be coming to you next month for your review. Do you guys have any questions?
I don't have any right now. Do we have any questions?
I just have a comment. The English language learners is it's pretty low, but I bet with the grant we got for the Jefferson preschool, the focus on the English as second language,
Yeah.
I bet we're gonna see those really go up, especially since this is the first year.
I think that and the additional Title I teachers, those Title I teachers are used to help support our English language learners as well, so. Anything else? All right, thank you.
Thanks, Brett.
That's not an action item, so we'll move on to 3.3, permission to hire.
Yes, and we're not ready to hire anybody yet, but we will add to that. I mean, the first time we had it on the agenda, I talked about the people who are retiring. Right now, we're planning on replacing all of them. And since then, Mr. Brook has left, and we will be planning on replacing Mr. Brook. Mrs. Hershey's in, or Mrs. Gerard is taking his place for the second semester here, but we will look to rehire for that. And we probably will start our hiring process sometime in March. Since we've got a two-week spring break, we're not going to have as much time when we get back, so we'll probably start a little bit early this year. So I'll get into some specifics next month.
I'm trying to do math in my head, which is hard. So roughly how many are we talking about?
There were 8 teachers who retired, and then an assistant principal who left. So there'll be 9 right there.
As you look at that group, any area that you're concerned or any challenges?
Probably the biggest challenge would be the alternative school. And since we've had the alternative school, we've only, she's been there forever. So you just don't go out and advertise alternative school teacher. Takes a special person to work in that environment. And I know Mr. Condon is already working on that, seeing if there's somebody at this school now who might want to take that position, somebody who has you've got to have the ability to work with kids in all the different areas. Plus you have to have the heart to work with a student who for some reason wasn't really making it in the regular school. And this is no, I can't think of the name. That's part of the medicine that I'm taking. I forget all the time. But she's just been that special person for the Mrs. Cloudy, but thank you. She's just been that special person, and to watch her work is amazing. You think, well, she's only got 8 kids in the class, but she might have 8 kids and they're working on 8 different classes. So it's just phenomenal to watch, and that'll be the hardest one to replace.
We're not looking for any action here. This is just an update, right? Any questions for Dan? Or? Thank you. Move on to 3.4, consider Lincoln new curriculum.
Mr. Galt is here tonight to talk about a part of the health curriculum that we would like to bring an outside group in to help teach. Go ahead, Reed.
Good evening. I'm here to talk about a program that will be part of our health instruction, okay, with middle school kids and 60% of our students that are free and reduced lunch. This is an area of need, especially Julie Stauffer, our guidance counselor, has come to me with numerous incidents and conversations that she's had with kids that has brought this need to me. It is so I reached out and did a little bit of research of different programs, and I know that Mr. Tyree had been in conversation with this organization too, and it is PATH, a Positive Approach to Teen Health. I have Donna Galab here, okay, from the program to answer any questions that you might have. It is a program that will help our kids make positive choices, okay, in their lives, healthy choices. It is going to promote positive development. Okay, it says there in your what I've written up for you. It is their mission is to equip, empower, and encourage teens to make healthy choices through life skills, relationships, and character building. Okay, education, and in areas such as healthy choices regarding drugs, sex, alcohol, and relationship violence. It would be a 10-day unit, okay, that they come in and we'll teach all of our 7th grade students for those 10 days through this year. It would be through our science class, okay, to make sure that we get it in, okay, because some kids have health first semester, okay, and some have it second semester in 7th grade. Well, actually, health is a 9 weeks course, so they have it throughout. So this year, in order to get every 7th grade to have it, because we're already 3/4 in, we're going to do it through science course. Okay, but then in the future, it would be paired with our health curriculum. Okay, so what questions do you guys have?
Are these people professional trained or?
Hi, I'm Donna Golub. I'm the executive director there. The curriculum was developed through an opportunity we had with the Office of Adolescent Health. Our staff are all trained in positive youth development and sexual risk avoidance certified. So it is an abstinence-centered program, although it is a positive youth development focus. So yes, they're all trained to work around these subject matters specifically. The curriculum is evidence promising, being reviewed by a federal review board for evidence-based. Hopefully those outcomes are going to be coming our way soon. We went through a 5-year very rigorous evaluation, so we know that the program is effective in reducing risk behaviors and increasing student involvement in the classroom, and GPA scores have been increased with students that participate, as well as parent and student communication. A portion of every day at the end of our sessions, we encourage students to go home and talk to a trusted adult or a parent about the things that they're learning that day, recognizing that we're working in cooperation not only with the school but with families.
I've not heard of this program before, so I'm asking questions out of ignorance here. Where, in the research, where else have we seen this in place, or what kind of research are you referring to?
Well, they're in Northwest Indiana out of Valparaiso, so they're in several schools, okay, around there, one of them being North Judson, okay, St. Pierre schools. And they have gone in and I'm interested to see what their programming looks like, okay? So those are the questions that I asked is what does their curriculum look like? What things do they offer that maybe aren't in our health curriculum, okay, in our health standards as a state, okay? So as I researched, that's the things that I looked for, okay? Things such as the human growth and development, that puberty, okay? It's one thing that we were looking at, and we're seeing that our kids are not understanding, okay? They get it, I think, in 5th grade at Riverside, and then not again until they have health. They have 9 weeks of health at Lincoln, okay? And we cover as many of the standards as we can in the 7th grade health. But I don't think that we have gone to the depth that we need to go to. So I was looking for an organization, and that comes a little bit from my background as a health teacher in Indianapolis. The Marion County Health Organization, okay, Association always came in and helped us out, okay, in a partnership with our schools in Warren Township. So I was kind of looking for some of the same things with an organization here, okay. So I wanted to see what they provided curriculum-wise. So when you say research, that's what I looked at to see maybe some of the gaps that we had in standards, okay. When we try to cover a lot in only 9 weeks, okay, of health for grades 7 and 8, what could this program provide us that maybe we're not getting to kids right now?
This won't change the current health curriculum. This will just be like in addition to. It
will be. Okay, a little bit more in depth. Okay, we go over sexually transmitted diseases. We talk about healthy behaviors is kind of on the surface level. This will go a little deeper. Okay, a little bit more in depth in those things.
And it's 10 days, so 2 weeks.
It is.
This program is 2 weeks. Will that, will there be a conflict with the science learning that's supposed to be going on for those 2 weeks?
Well,
science class?
It will, push aside a little bit of the curriculum in science. Now, I will say that we're not tested in that area, okay? So we have, I feel like if there's an area that we have some flexibility for this year, that would be the one. Ideally, and in the future, I want to get part of our health curriculum, okay? The problem is that some kids already have health, okay, the first 9 weeks, and then get it in there then, okay? So for this year, so that all seventh graders, okay, get it, that it will be part of science, and then in the future, we'll have it part of our health
Makes sense.
curriculum. So, you know, and I really feel that we've got, you know, our at-risk population of students at our school, since I've been here in Plymouth Schools, has grown immensely, okay? The needs that they have, both with these kind of health, topics, okay? They're not getting this at home, okay? And they're engaging in you know, with conversations that Julie's having with them, they are engaging in risky behaviors that if they're not getting it at Lincoln Junior High in grades 7 and 8, I think we're doing students a disservice, okay? Because then we send them on to the high school, and sometimes it's too late, okay? They're already engaging in some of those unhealthy behaviors, and this will help just another opportunity for them to learn about making positive choices. I mean, we've got 5 Stars, a mentoring program after school. This is where, you know, something that the whole 7th grade will get. I've got a 7th grade student, okay, myself, and you know, I think it's important that our students learn those healthy choices.
This is an organization that I had investigated once before. I don't remember what happened, but I've gotten nothing but good comments from the schools that had them, and I don't know why it fell through, but when Reed came to me, I said, we've gone through this procedure before, and for some reason we didn't have them. Was it a grant that had run out or something?
Yeah, we were kind of, when you and I made our first connection, we were right at the end of one grant and then starting another, and the demographics weren't quite right, but we serve 8 counties in northwest Indiana, 23 different school districts, and in most cases, as Reed said, we are a supplemental program that comes into the health class. Some of the schools that don't have health, we will rotate through a core subject, one, you know, like 2 a week, so that we don't take out a big chunk of time like you were questioning. But we do meet a lot of state standards outside of, you know, the health curriculum itself. But a lot of our focus is very forward-thinking on goal setting and how to really achieve your goals and the importance of your academic career. So it's much more than just a typical sex ed or relationship education program.
So what is the proposed timing of the 2-week program that you have in mind?
Yeah, it would start April the 11th, okay, and conclude on April the 25th, okay. So that's the proposed plan for this year. And then next year, what it would look like would be each quarter we would have them come in to our health class and spend a day or several days per quarter in there.
What kind of reaction have you received from the science teachers? That's it.
Well, I haven't really talked to the science teachers yet because I wanted to make sure that it was something that was approved first. Okay, I've talked to my health teacher about it, okay, and the need that, how she felt about it, because what she, you know, is it something that's going to step on her toes and what she's teaching? And she's excited about being a part of it. So, you know, where she would go up there and watch me in the prep. But my science teachers, you know, in 7th grade, we have some PLTW time, okay, that one of our PLTW strands is embedded into 7th grade science, okay, to where the last quarter, that's in the last quarter, they already kind of have a different curriculum, okay, that last quarter with PLTW.
I'm going to put myself in your shoes.
Sure.
I don't have a 7th grade any longer, but this would not be the curriculum I would expect my daughter to come home from in science class. So what communication has there been, or would there be with teachers, or excuse me, with families of this being part of the curriculum?
Yeah.
And my follow-up to that is, well, we're talking about some sets and varies.
Sure. Sure.
What if somebody's not comfortable with that?
There's an opt-out, okay? I know the program provides an opt-out letter, okay, home to parents, but I would provide communication myself to the parents that would describe the program to them and then give them an option. I think it is, if they don't bring it back, yeah, go ahead.
So we do have a letter prepared that's sent home to the parents that's an overview of the program, and a link to our website and to our direct contact so they can call and ask us any questions they have. There's also a preview of our curriculum online so they can go and see the material. And as I said, we encourage the students at the end of every session to go home and talk to their parent or a trusted adult about what they're talking about. So we really do want to engage the family in the conversation. We recognize that some of the material can be sensitive, so we're careful to make sure that it's age appropriate and very medically accurate. It's been reviewed by the CDC for both. And the permission slip is, if you don't want your child to participate, send this back to the school, and then the school will make accommodations for them to be somewhere else during that period that we're in the classroom. And we also are more than welcome at any time to have a parent sit in the class or a teacher, or I would invite any of you to sit in any time you would like to observe. It's a very interactive class. It's not a 45-minute lecture by any means. We get the students involved. The idea is to give them the skills that they need to be able to set clear and healthy boundaries and talk through these difficult situations and topics comfortably. So I would invite you to participate anytime. If you'd like to see it before we get here, I can give you the schedule of where we are. Or I can give you references to other schools if you'd like to talk with other teachers that have participated. Or parents too. We've got parent references all over the place.
I would move that we give Lincoln an opportunity to pursue this curriculum and hopefully come back with some type of evaluation as to the success and what your overall opinion is.
Sure.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. We have a question from the floor.
I do have a question for PEA. So if this gets approved tonight, then we go talk to the science teachers? And are we saying it is going to happen at that point? Or are we asking for input from the science teachers? I'm a little confused on that. And then as far as the cost, what is the cost to the corporation as well?
To your first question, I would didn't want to, talk or discuss it with them if it wasn't something that was going to be approved curriculum, okay? So now I will go and sit down with them and talk about my plan. Now, if that doesn't work, then I would have to come up with trying to figure out how to get as many seventh graders the curriculum as we can with the time left, okay? And that would be through health, but then it would only be probably a quarter of our seventh grade students, okay? Because I have talked to my health teacher and she's on board, but kind of how do I get it into a place where as many of our seventh graders can get it as possible. Your second question, okay, remind me what that was again?
Is there a cost to the corporation?
No, there is not a cost. It is not a profit organization.
So we're talking a change in the curriculum possibly?
For 10 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is, okay. It's interesting, this is the first time we're hearing of it as well. And I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it.
As am I. And I know we have a motion and second, and I'm not going to vote in favor, not because of the program, but just because of I'm just not comfortable going to science. 2 weeks is a big chunk of time, and I would rather have some knowledge of what does that do to their curriculum. I'm in favor of Project Lead the Way and all the other things that may be, I don't know, don't misunderstand my I think I'm being clear.
Yeah,
I'm just unclear in terms of
Todd, I think you
the
mentioned
schedule.
if the science teachers didn't prove it, they would pursue it through a different avenue.
I just don't know what that avenue is.
Well,
Well, it would be health class, okay, but it would be for only a quarter of our students, okay, those that have health that 9 weeks, which is, not, we've got 260 seventh grade students, so that would probably be 60, 70, 80 students that would get it, okay, rather than the 260. Okay, now ideally, okay, I would have come to you last year, okay, but, it just so happened that I got an email, okay, Julie and I had been talking about the need for something like this, and it was something that I wanted to pursue again, because I think it will help our kids, okay, in making healthier choices. I see oftentimes, and so does Julie, in working with kids, that aren't making healthy choices, okay?
I understand.
Yeah, so that's.
Reed, why don't we kind of make a change here and just, let's do this in the health class that we have.
Mhm.
And then that'll give us an opportunity
To see it.
the program, and then next year we can get it into all the health classes, and instead of trying to push it through the
Good.
science curriculum. I think that would make everybody comfortable if we just did it for one health class, right?
And I strongly considered that, and the reason why I went to science was just that, just to, a way to get it to every
And
kid.
many schools, they don't have a health class, so health gets put into science. So, there is a relationship between the state standards, but not, but I think in the day of accountability, we probably should, let's just try it out in the health class that we have, and then I think it'll be a good program, and next year we'll have it back for all 4 quarters. That'd be something that you might be in favor of then, Todd?
I didn't make the motion, you have to ask Larry. Well, I mean, that was,
fine.
yeah, the program is really not my issue, it's just the fairness to the science teachers that, I'm sure, have worked very hard to lay out their curriculum for the rest of the year. And
I understand your concern, but I also understand Reed's
I
concern
do too.
too about making sure all of the kids have that information, because it is needed. It really
I
is.
understand.
But I could go along with that as well.
I have no problem with
What if kids hear that they're not getting it and they want it? Or their families want them to have it?
Well, yeah, that could be an issue.
I know.
Okay.
that. But on the other hand, if it's very worthwhile and successful, then you've got next year to implement that
Yeah.
to your entire curriculum, so.
The science teachers know these kids, and they may realize, hey, this is something that's really important, and I want these kids to
Could be, I just.
to
don't
go
know.
through. Is there any way we could see if Reed could talk to the science teachers and see how receptive they might be? And then if you're not doing it until April, maybe you could talk to them and then come back
Yeah.
and give us a report? Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Because anytime you can open communication with 7th graders about these issues, I think we need to do
That's
it.
not- That's not my issue.
I know, but I'm saying the science teachers might also agree
Sure.
with that. They may be very receptive to letting someone help them in the classroom for 10 days. I don't know.
I'd like to know if they think.
Is there any way to table it and come back next month? Or,
Just stomp it all over Robert's rules of orders, right?
Well, I can withdraw in a second.
Huh? I can unravel this, yeah.
I don't know, what do you think? If you,
Yeah, I don't know here we are, February,
Second.
thank you. Is that?
Would that be too late?
We are penciled in for the 11th through the 25th, okay? And I told her to pencil me in because it wasn't board approved. It wasn't something
And I
that.
know we can't just say, this is what we want to do, we have a lot of things going on.
And actually, one of those weeks, okay, is the beginning of the I-STEP window, okay? But we pushed that back to the second week of I-STEP. We got a little longer window this year than we have in the past. Because, and I think that's why those weeks were probably open, okay, is all the schools wanted to get it out of the I-STEP window week. Okay, so, but we've got some time to do that. You know, if, you know, in hindsight, I probably should have went to my science teachers to begin with, but, you know, I wanted to make sure that it was something that.
I think if it's, if we have time, I would certainly like to have their feedback. And I understand the relationship with the program, and I understand the communication with seventh graders is important. That would certainly be helpful if we can perhaps indicate more that is favorable for the program. I just need to know a little bit more about what impact it might have and or not have on the curriculum that they have scheduled.
I wonder also, Reed, if we explore the option that she talked about, doing a couple days in the different course as well. Might be another option that we can look at.
At this point, Larry, you made the motion. I don't know if you care to withdraw.
I will be happy to withdraw my motion.
You okay with it?
Yep.
And perhaps it would be in order to have a motion to table this to our March meeting.
So moved.
Oh, just a second. Could you second that? Question?
So, can I ask if this is a co-ed class?
You could certainly ask. I'm not the one to answer.
Is it a co-ed class?
It is a co-ed, and there's a male and female instructor in the classroom at the same time. So there's 2 instructors per class.
Yes.
Is our regular health class, is that co-ed as well?
Excuse me? It is co-ed.
Well, thank you, Reed, for doing the research, bringing it forth. Please don't misunderstand my questions. I appreciate that.
It's okay. Thank you.
We have a motion and second for table is so warrant. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 3.5, consider resolution 2016-2 to avoid checks.
This is something much less complicated. Indiana Code 5-11-10.5-2 provides that all warrants or checks drawn upon public funds of a political subdivision that are outstanding and unpaid for a period of two or more years as of the last day of December of each year are allowed to be voiced. And then we are to receipt them back into the fund they originally came from. And this year we are asking that you approve us to do that. And it totals $72.63. And yes, we also have tried to contact those people with affidavits and have not received any notes back.
So moved.
Second.
Have motion and second to approve resolution 2016-2 related to void checks. Any questions? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 3.6, consider calendar for 2016-17.
Yes, I have a proposed calendar before you tonight. It's a very similar calendar to what we had last year. The first teacher day would be August 1st. The first student day would be August 2nd. Right now, the one little asterisk I want to throw in here is right at the end of last week, discovery was made that the one date that the state allows students to take the PSAT free is during our fall break. We've received verbal confirmation that we can give it free on November 2nd, but so far it has not been put into writing, and we ask that that be put into writing. So, as we approve this tonight, we approve it with the asterisk that if we have to give it on the 19th in order to give it free, then fall break will be moved to the 10th through the 14th of October. And by the next meeting, I will have it, and I'll have it probably tomorrow. It's probably, I was hoping I'd get it today. And I will get that to the media, I'll get it to you, and I'll send it home to all parents so they'll know exactly when it is. We'll have a 3-day break at Thanksgiving, It's one of those things that once you do it once, you probably are always going to do it because people enjoy it so much. A lot of people travel over Thanksgiving, and that gave them a little more time to travel. Over the holiday break, about every 6 or 7 years, it runs into the difficulty of getting in 3 weekends and 2 full weeks. We tried to work that out so we could get in 3 weekends and 2 full weeks, but one of 2 things happened with that, whatever we did. Either the number of days that our vocational kids were going to be put into a pickle because the vocational program was going on and we're out, or we were going to end up with 97 days in the first semester and 83 in the second semester, which might be okay for the elementaries, but it's not good for the high school and some junior high classes that are semester long. Brooke was working on it in her office, I was working on it in my office, and we came to the conclusion that we can get 10 days in, we just can't get 3 weekends in. We would begin then again on the 4th of January, we'd come back for second semester. That would be the teacher day. The 5th would be the first student day. We would have Martin Luther King Day and President's Day off. We would have 2 weeks at spring, the last week of March and the first week of April, and we would be done with the last teacher day on May 26th. That would mean that we wouldn't come back after Memorial Day, so the class school would be out. A couple of things that this is going to do, because we do the e-learning days on snow makeup days, it's going to allow us to have an earlier summer school start. It's also going to allow us to get graduation in a date closer to the end of school. So this is the recommendation that I have for calendar for next week, for next year, and I appreciate it if you would vote in favor of this recommendation.
You've heard the recommendation, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. You mentioned graduation, is that contemplated yet?
Graduation's not on this calendar. Once this calendar is passed, Mr. Condon will decide when graduation's going to be.
Or you wanted to make a comment or have a question?
I just had a question with the process of approving the calendar or coming up with the calendar. What is the beginning stages of that? In our discussion, we did see it last month in December, but that was already with the draft out there. So who comes up with the initial draft as the framework for what the calendar is going to be?
The vocational director.
And they meet at what time of the year to do that?
Vocational director?
Yeah.
He makes it up on his own.
Okay, and is there a timetable that goes with that?
Well, I was gone most of that first semester, so I'm really not sure when he brought that to the superintendents. Sometime first semester.
Okay, so the vocational director came up with the initial one, then it went to the superintendents. And we're not sure necessarily what time that was, when they first saw it.
Both in the first semester.
First semester, and then it went to the discussion with the buildings in December.
That's correct.
I guess, one of the things that we're just wondering is there a time frame that's more concrete that each year we can start looking for it? When should we expect next year's calendar to start looking for it so we're not in so much?
My goal is to have it approved in the February board meeting, because people are making plans for next year, and the longer we put it off, the more difficult it is. We can't discuss it until the vocational director creates that first one. And once that's discussed and we have some discussion among the superintendents, then we'll bring them to the teachers and we'll discuss it with you. And then we'll have it ready so that in February we'll bring it to the board and vote on it. you're asking me to create a schedule that's dependent on somebody else coming up with that first schedule that I can't do. I've got to wait on him. If I came up with the original schedule to start with, I could give you that, but I can't until I get that from him. I can ask for that happen.
I think it'd be helpful if we did have a clear picture of when to expect the calendar each year, so that we can have meaningful discussion and have it for the February board meeting.
What happened, I want to make sure people know what happened, is I took it to the teachers and asked them to discuss it with their teachers. But because of Christmas vacation, they didn't have a discussion meeting. Instead of calling a special discussion meeting to do it, they anticipated that I would let it go another month. And I thought they should have discussed it when they had the opportunity to discuss it.
So the desire would be earlier in December, perhaps? Or
I know like for at the high school, we have typically a discussion meeting once a month, but in certain months like Christmas, where we aren't there at the end of the month, that's when our discussion meeting is, we don't schedule them. But yeah, the ideal way would be to have it earlier within the year to have that discussion, so that we can look at it in a little bit more detail.
do you have concerns over this calendar?
We had emergency building meetings throughout. We gave our feedback to Mr. Tyree, and he addressed it from there and sent us an email about how it was addressed.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? I was struck by the 2 days before, or 2 days and then off for 2 weeks, and then coming back midweek. I understand.
It happens about every 6 or 7 years that has to happen.
I don't have any other questions. I forget. Did we have a motion? Okay. So we have a motion and a second to approve the calendar as presented. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Sorry, I lost my. Item 3.7, consider transfer deadlines and capacity for 16-17.
And I can't get back now to. There we go. I am back. And I'm there. Yes, every year, new statute came in a couple of years ago. We have to have a date when we'll stop taking transfers, and then we also have to set a limit of the number of students that will accept as transfers. This proposal that I have tonight is very similar to the one I brought you the last 2 years. We will stop accepting transfers the last day of school, which is May 25th, 2017, and we will have a limit of 325 students per grade level until 8th grade, and in the high school, we probably have room that we could have more than that. We've never gotten up to the 325 except one class did for 1 year, and then it's dropped back down since then. So we're well under 325. We're probably not even going to get close to that in most classes. My recommendation is that we adopt this schedule and capacity.
So moved.
Second. A motion and second to set the transfer deadlines and capacity. Question or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. 3.8, consider agreement for residential services.
This is an agreement with Department of Education as well as a residential facility that talks about our responsibilities for a student that we have in residential placement. It happens periodically when the contract is up, and so I recommend this agreement to you for your approval.
Heard the recommendation is Is there a motion?
I'd make a motion.
Second.
That motion is second. Questions, Randy? Don't have it. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 3.9, consider 8740 bonding policy revision, second reading.
Yes, this was brought to our attention by the State Board of Accounts. So Jeff William prepared this for us, and this is the second reading for a policy concerning employees that are responsible for safekeeping of corporation funds, and that we bond them through our crime policy. It's something new that they're saying our crime policy now has to be approved, basically. Through a policy.
Heard the explanation, so this aligns us with the code, is that what I'm hearing? That's probably a good idea.
It directly mirrors an update to the state statute. What
Excuse
it
me,
basically
I'm sorry.
says, it directly mirrors an update to the state statute. What it basically says in the statute is that you're required to have certain employees bonded, but if you adopt a crime policy, that will take the place of the bond. So if you have that crime policy, you don't have to have bonding. And that's what this statute, or this policy says, is that you will adopt the bonding, or in lieu of that, adopt the crime policy. The language in this is almost identical to the updated statute.
Heard the explanation, is there a, do we do a motion still? Is there a motion to approve the policy?
So moved. Second.
The motion is second. Any further questions? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 3.10, consider adult ed grant continuation.
Yes, we're asking the school board to approve the continuation of the adult aid grant for the period of July 1/16 through June 30/17. This is an action item and there needs to be a vote. And there's a form that's also attached that would need to be signed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second to approve. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 3.11, on first reading, we have a whole list of new and revised policies and guidelines.
Yes, in our work with Neola and other legal experts, really needs to reflect a lot of statutory changes that occurred during the last session relating to regarding safety committee and drills and when we can have certain drills. There's some language relating to some anti-harassment policies. A lot of those are just replicated through different needs of professional staff, classified staff, students, etc. Some regulations on just who should be present when the students are withdrawing from school. There's always some immunization policy updates. So this is the first reading. We certainly can entertain questions now and more specifics during the second reading.
Full disclosure, I haven't got through them all yet, so I don't have any questions. But this is going to be on the agenda in March for consideration, but I don't have any questions yet. This is one that you had a question or comment?
A similar situation, I haven't been able to go through all of them yet. I think Mr. Hartley may have answered it, though. These are, again, mirroring changes in state statute, even the ones considering curriculum and teacher termination.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Please, if you have a chance to, there's a lot here, get through those, any clarifications that you desire, maybe get with Andy before the meeting so we have a chance, don't put him on the spot if there's something that he needs to look up or what have you, so. All right, thank you. 3.12, project update.
Mr. Schoaf?
Okay, I have the,
Okay, I'll give a project update.
Thanks, Dave.
With us moving from Sandy to Robin to myself to now to Amy, I figured we would be off on at least one thing for this meeting. We've done pretty well. This is it. Well, as you can see, it's not part of the project. It's a capital projects building that we're doing on the north end of the football field. That is a storage building for marching band and athletics. And you're always needing more storage. And right now, we've got things like the spring floor for the gymnastics competitions that when they're not in a gymnastics season, where do you put that floor? Well, now we'll have a place to put it. The high jump pit, the long jump pit, places like the pole vault pit, where do you put that stuff when, well, you take it inside and you find a corner someplace and you hope that it hasn't been torn up by somebody because it was behind lock and key. So that storage building had been planned the last several years, and we finally got it into capital projects, and it's now getting built. Looks like it's part of the project because it's happening about the same time, but it's not. The concession stand, we had 2 architects and an engineer tell us that the building was not worth remodeling, that it would be cheaper and it would be better in the long run to demolish the building and start over. So that's what we've done. The building was down 2 days. Then the pavilion that the boosters built 15 years ago, it was not built with the right kind of footers, and the cement was cracking, and it was getting very dangerous. So to try to do anything with that again was the advice that we've gotten was just tear it down and start over. So we hired Jackson Demolition, and they came in last week, and in less than a week they had both of those buildings down and cleaned up. Dave, did the electricity get turned off?
Actually, NIPSCO is preparing to do that this week, and then they're going to cover the high power lines as well this week.
Okay, so before we start on the bleachers, demolishing the bleachers, NIPSCO has to come in, turn the electric off, and then they have to cover it because the bleachers are so close to those power lines out there. And so Jackson Demolition is close to, they're ready to get on it as soon as NIPSCO gets here and gets that stuff turned off. The next item on tonight's agenda will be to open the bids for the rest of the project. So that'll tell us when we can get started and go on there. So that's where we are right now. And each board meeting will have a little bit of an update on the project, and I'll go ahead and do that because Dave gets up so early in the morning and during the winter to check on roads and to plow lots if we've had some snow, that I'll just take that from now on. All right. Any questions about what we've done so far?
Can we just clarify, there's new turf as part of this project? That's all that we're hearing.
It's not part of this project.
Oh, you don't have it, because I can find it. We'll find it. They're getting ready, so.
Yeah, I think we're ready for 313, consider bids for concession stands, restrooms, and administration.
Stop for time, Dave, go. Stop for time.
I'd like to see those bleachers come down.
Bruce is
That'd be
pretty quick
exciting.
here, so it won't take them very long.
I mean, are they actually going to demolish and
I don't know how.
are they
he's
going to
do
try
it.
and take it apart piece by
Oh,
piece,
I
Dave?
don't think they'll do that.
The bid is, the salvage right to the materials is reflected in the bid, so they're going to scrap that out and salvage it because we couldn't remodel it or renovate it to the new ADA state standards.
No, what she wanted.
So are they gonna like
Oh, just
pull
the-
them,
well,
are they gonna like?
I'm always surprised
Wrecking
by
ball.
how he does things, really. Sometimes it's, sometimes it's a lot of handwork, and sometimes it's just, it's gonna be pretty delicate in there, 15 feet from that power line.
Yeah, that's
So I
true.
think it's gonna be working pretty slowly, doing some handwork on some of the high stuff.
Yeah, no,
So,
those Jacksons out of Rochester, they get it done quick.
yeah.
Dave, you want the bid tabulation?
Yeah, just the bid tabulation sheet, if you could put that up so everyone can see it. I just wanted to take a few minutes of your time to present the bid tabulation from our January 29th bid for the construction projects at Plymouth High School campus. The sheet will itemize a few aspects of the bid, and listing that under football, I have a list of all of the contractors that participated in that bid. We had quite a good turnout on this one. And our next line over here shows, in base bid, shows what the cost from each contractor would be for that component of the project if we were to accept all of the alternates. I utilized alternate 1 to compare the cost of asphalt surfacing versus concrete, and it ended up being about $23,000 less expensive to go asphalt versus concrete for all of our area out there. So we were going to decline the extra to do concrete and just place asphalt around all the buildings. And alternate 2 was a breakout for cost for a stone path at the end of the stadium, and we decided to take a deduct on that. And then alternate 3 was the removal of, there was a dormer piece on the roof of the concession stand building that we elected to delete to cut the cost about another $11,000. And in the football improvements, the bids were as follows: Brown and Brown with the deductions at $1,019,000. That was the high bid. Then we had a low bidder that was highlighted in yellow, Majority Builders, at $886,470. You will notice that in blue, there was a bid submitted by R. Yoder Construction. However, after review by the architect and myself, it was determined that it was not complete and therefore not responsive to the entire scope of the project. So again, Majority Builders was the low bidder on that piece of the project. Moving on to the administration project, Robert Henry Corporation was the high bidder at $528,450 less the, I should explain the deductions on this one as well. Alternate 1 was for some HVAC modification versus replacement, and alternate 2, after getting the numbers in on the grandstand, the other buildings, alternate 2 was for the addition to the west end of the administration building. We identified that separately so we could stay within the limits of our budget for the project. So we had to take the deduct of $267,000 so that we could fit the project within the scope of the $2 million, right, that we are, for the project. So we won't be building that west addition the way this is structured at this time. And after reviewing the bids as well, Majority Builders was the only contractor that offered another $32,000 deduction for the project if it were awarded in the form of a combined bid. So they were low on the football and concessions, the concessions buildings, and low on the east addition of the administration, as well as they offered a $32,000 deduct. And after reviewing the bids and required submitted documents and conferring with our architect, Joe Zerla and Associates, I would recommend that the board award the construction projects to the Majority Builders in the form of a combined bid, and that is in the sum of $1,216,640. I would be glad to answer any questions that you might have regarding the projects. We tried to have those alternates in there so we could have areas to trim out if the bids were higher, but yet still trying to fit our budgets for the project.
Questions for Dave?
What is the timetable on?
It's a really aggressive schedule on the football field. We have to have it completed by August 1st. We did place a $500 per day penalty onto that project if it were not completed.
Dave, when are they gonna start?
Well, they could begin with basically a commitment to proceed, and then we could get contracts going, and they would probably be starting sometime in mid-March, doing the footings and weather permitting, mid-March to later part of March.
Since the groundhog said we're gonna have an early spring, we probably can get started mid-March.
150 days in that range, roughly, we're thinking so. And then we also put back the administration project until about October for the East Edition to try and focus on getting that, because we did lose the track and field home meets this year, so we wanted to focus on getting that done.
The alternate one on the football, the asphalt versus concrete, was that, I'm assuming you also, I'm no expert here, but the maintenance of one versus the other, does that offset 20,000 or no?
Well, my personal opinion on the project is that an asphalt surface, we can just go in and maintain it with some crack filling and minor repairs. Concrete, like at Kentfield, for example, we had some heaving and some cracking in there, and we replaced it. And it's almost impossible to kind of keep things matching and looking appropriate. So, I mean, you do have that where you can seal and maintain, but you can cast the asphalt more quickly in place as well. So time-wise, you can lay it in place quicker, and you do have that easier upkeep in the future. You have that option in the future. So.
I just see kids with bikes and kickstands that just like sink into the.
What was the question?
Kids with, like, if they ride their bikes to the football field and they park them, they could, if it's hot out.
I don't have the drawings up here at this time, but in the open pavilion areas, we placed concrete where the tables would sit, things like that. This is primarily, the savings would be main entrance, like coming up the ramp area and going over to the restroom buildings and general common areas like that. So but we do have quite a bit of concrete area as well there for tables and things like that to sit.
Well, we're gonna bury the power lines, or they stay?
That's over spring break. That will take place the second week after intercession is completed. NIPSCO is scheduled for that.
Thanks.
I will move we accept the low bid majority on both projects.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further questions or discussion? And with this and the bleachers, we're at our full budget then?
We're very close. We are under budget, but very close. So, and I feel we've discovered quite a bit of at this point, we're, with our drawings and our specs, we're very tight on it at this point, so.
Thanks for all your hard work, Dave.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Have motion and second to approve. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Legislative report. I don't know, Dan, if you have anything to
I haven't taken a lot of time to study what's out there. We're not even to the point where they're been taken from one house to the other. So right now, I guess the things that I'll be watching for will be the things that will be what I would consider a loss of dollars to the public schools. If they're looking for anything that's going to increase the number of scholarships that they're giving to vouchers, I guess that's what I call them. So I'll be watching for things like that for the most part. But at this point, I was just glad they got the I-STEP stuff taken care of, so that could be done, and so we can move on. But we'll be watching things a little more closely now.
Well, speaking of dollars, we can talk about. I don't know where it's gonna land. I was down to testify earlier this week on a bill that would potentially, well, it was already approved in 2015, that kind of changes the local income tax landscape. So we do receive local income taxes. So I don't know that that's going to change, but there's a lot of, this is a big undertaking. So it's one that I'm certainly going to keep an eye on pretty closely, and we'll report. There's going to be more meetings next week.
Does that have anything to do with where he's going to get the money for the roads that he wants to do without raising taxes?
I don't know who he is, but
Governor Pence.
No.
So I'm kind of worried about that as I've listened to his the rhetoric on our infrastructure is important to us, but I'm not going to do anything that's going to raise taxes. So I worry that dollars that maybe are headed for should be headed for public schools are going to be headed for the roads we use to drive to schools, and they're bad too. But
well, there is a consideration for increasing the gas tax, but those are separate items. There is another bill that potentially will clean out some reserves that are held at the trust level of the state for each county against the local income tax. We'll see if that has legs, but I'm not sure that's a good long-term solution.
Didn't they talk about increasing like gas tax and decreasing the income tax? The state
It's not decreasing the income tax, it's a restructuring. It'll make it more simple. It's going to be simpler. So watch out.
Which potentially can affect school funding.
Yes. Okay, let's move on then to, unless anybody has any questions. Superintendent remarks.
yes, 4.1 commitment to students. New applications for our project-based learning classroom environments will be open on Sunday, February the 21st, 2016 at 1 o'clock p.m. on the corporation website. Washington Discovery Academy and the Innovation Academy at Riverside Riverside Intermediate School, the Innovation Academy at Lincoln Junior High School, and the Widener School of Inquiry are part of the school corporation's commitment to provide students and parents a choice in learning environments. Students are currently enrolled in our PBL environments do not need to reapply. 4.2 Caring. Plymouth High School will once again offer a College Goals Sunday on Sunday, February the 21st, 2016 from 2 to 4 p.m. Students and their parents will be able to fill out the FAFSA form. It's the federal form that qualifies students for college grants and loans. To be eligible for these grants and loans, the FAFSA must be completed and sent in by March 10th, 2016 by midnight Central Time. 4.3, high expectations. The Robotics Club at PHS has now qualified 3 teams to the state and national competitions. If you'd like to see a robotics competition, we will be hosting our very first next robotics competition on Saturday, February 13th, 2016 at 9 a.m. at the high school. Come out and see our club present their 2016 game, Nothing But Net. Admission is free, and our students would enjoy seeing a large crowd there. 4.4, teamwork. Our technology department and Title I staff have been working diligently to ensure the WIDA testing is completed successfully. The WIDA test is an assessment that is given to our second language students each year. 4.5, integrity. This past weekend, our PHS students participated in another very successful Riley Dance Marathon for Riley's Children's Hospital. They raised over $29,000. This is our 5th marathon, and PHS has raised over $116,000 in those 5 marathons for Riley's. The participants capped off their long day on their feet by performing at halftime of the boys' basketball game. And enjoyment, 4.6. Our PHS debate teams had 2 good outings over the past 2 weekends. Garrett Carver qualified for the national tournament 2 weekends ago at the district debate tournament. Garrett, as a junior, is now qualified for the national tournament 3 years in a row. Last weekend, then Emily McKenzie won the state championship in the PO competition for Congress. This is the second year in a row that Emily has won the state in the PO competition. This year's national tournament is in Salt Lake City, Utah. And our next meeting is Tuesday, March 1st, 2016. The regular board meeting is at 7 o'clock p.m. And that's all I have.
David, any questions for David? Comments?
I mentioned the wrestling team won the sectional.
Yep.
On this participation, are there any questions or comments from the audience on the agenda items this evening? Thanks for your perseverance during the long meetings. Thank you for coming. 6.1, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.